Good morning, everybody. It's your girl Miracle Sims, and you are listening to God, Sex, and Love. Your daily dose of inspiration and just. It is July the 14th, 2021, and today the topic is Who Will You Serve? Not too much happened yesterday, y'all. I just, you know, hustling from home. I did do a virtual acting class yesterday, and so that was going well. Our son is getting smart every day and everything like that. But that's it, really. Nothing too much to report there. Um, I've been taking in a lot of information. I kind of started to check in on like what's going on and I guess different aspects of life. You know what I mean? I guess I checked in on Allie's Army and see what's going on with that. And I will say over the past few days, I've kind of listened to a few things about politics and whatnot. But I mean, everybody can do their own, like, I guess, research on that stuff. I mean, there's nothing for me to necessarily report there. It's just that, I guess it kind of leads me to the topic today because, my prayer meditation was centered around like trust and everything like that. And the word trust did kind of resonate a little bit this morning, or at least I thought about it a little bit after the prayer meditation. But I don't know. Then I more so started to think about like free will, right? And this idea of being predestined um and all of that, right? Because I guess as you really look into that, then you can, for me, I guess I could just only speak for myself. It's like I kind of clearly see that there's this, when it comes to good and evil, it seems like there's clear, I guess not just sides, but like clear indications of what side you're on based on the choices you make, right? And I guess we struggle with this idea of, well, why, if we have free will, then how does God know, and blah 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 blah. Now, I don't know if I've necessarily asked that question, like, well, if God knows, then it knows who's predestined or whatever the case is, then do we really have free will? Yeah, I don't know if I've asked that question per se. But I guess I can understand how that question could get asked, right? But at the end of the day, I guess my question, or the thing that I think about when this whole idea comes up, is like, well, just because God knows doesn't mean you still don't have the choice, does it? Like, you still have the choice, at least from my understanding. So perhaps this is what led me to the topic today. Again, there's a lot of verses and things like that I came across. But hey, let's get into it. Let's get into it. Well, okay, before I get into the verses, I want to share with you guys what I came across in regards to the definition of free will. So it says the power of acting without the constraint of necessity or fate, the ability to act at one's own discretion. So, to be honest, when I came across that definition this morning, I kind of was like, this makes me want to find out what the biblical definition is, but I didn't necessarily. When I looked that up, I started to see like people's, I guess, opinions and blogs about free will, more so than like a biblical definition of free will. Now, obviously, I'm sure we could go deeper. Maybe someone could find it or something like that. But for the time constraints and whatnot, for me, I just was like, when I didn't see the definition, I just kind of let that part go. Because I mean, I can accept the definition for what it is, I guess, but I guess the part for me that was like weird being in there was the constraint of necessity or fate, that part, the or fate part. Because at the end of the day, according to the Bible, at least my understanding of it, is there, there is a fate based on your choices. Like, you know what I mean? I mean, and everybody knows it. Or, everybody at least takes issue with the biblical fate, right? The whole heaven versus hell and everything like that. People take issue with that. And it's interesting because I was having a conversation with someone the other day. Well, it had been last week because, yeah, that's when I recorded the last episode of The Juice. But anyway, but I mean, not just in that conversation, but just conversations across the board that I've had with people. One of the main issues that I hear, I guess I would say consistently, is that, people don't want to, be told that they're going to hell, right? In X, Y, and Z. And I guess my question for the individual that I was speaking with last week, at least, was like, well, listen, I feel, and this is just me, but also based on the word, that we should, or, well, pastors, you know what I'm saying, pastors and people that are teachers and whatnot, and people that share the gospel, whatever the case is, should be able to let people know about hell just as much as heaven, right? Like, because if we go on and keep talking about heaven and ignore hell, then it's like you're not getting the full teaching, at least from my understanding, right? And so I'm like, there has to be balance. There has to be, you know, pastors should be, teach about both. Now, obviously, I guess delivery is important, right? And everything like that. So I mean, I definitely, understand and feel according to the word that, things should be taught in love. So it shouldn't be like in a condemning way or something like that. However, it should still be noted and it, and told to people. It shouldn't be like this thing where it's like, oh, okay, I'm only going to tell you about heaven and the rainbows and butterflies and unicorns and all the beautiful things. And I'm not going to tell you anything about hell. I mean, because then you're doing a disservice, right? I mean, it's like you're not giving the warning or whatever case it is. At least in my understanding. But okay, going back to free will. So what does all this have to do with our free will and everything like that? And I guess, do we really have a choice on who we're going to serve? Because, if God knows who we're going to serve, then do we have a choice? I mean, I would say so. But hey, let's see what the words say. Joshua 24:15 says, and if it is evil in your eyes to serve the Lord, choose this day whom you will serve, whether the gods of your father serve in the region beyond the river, or the gods of the Amorites in whose land you dwell. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. I apologize for getting jumbled in the middle there, but basically it's, the person is saying that, hey, choose you this day who you're going to serve. It sounds like the person has a choice. They're presenting a choice to whoever they're talking to, right? Hey, choose who you're going to serve. You serve, this, you serve that. This is what we're going to do over here, is basically what I'm hearing when I read this. But I'm gonna keep going. So then Proverbs 16 and 9, it says, the heart of man plans his way, but the Lord establishes his steps. So, I mean, again, we struggle with this idea of, well, if God knows, then do we really have free will? I don't think God knowing changes that you have the choice. Again, that's me and my understanding, but I mean, how does that change your choice? I mean, I don't know if somebody can answer that. I don't know if today, as you think about it or whatever case it is, I mean, how does God knowing what you're going to choose change the fact that you have the choice? Y'all can explain it to me, or if y'all want, or whatever. But for me, I don't think that changes. I can know, and then I go back to my son. I mean, as a mom, right? Sometimes if I put something before my son, if I put like broccoli and a lollipop in front of my son, I'm thinking that, man, I would think that he's gonna go for the lollipop. Now me, I will sit here and say I'm omnipotent or whatever, or I'm on the same level as God or whatever the case is. But I would say there's a pretty good chance that my son would choose the lollipop. Now, does that change him having the choice between the broccoli and the lollipop? I don't think so. I'm still giving him the choice. Hey, son, do you want to choose this broccoli or lollipop? And when he chooses the lollipop, that I knew in my mind, I'm looking at him and I'm like, he's probably gonna go for the lollipop. Now, again, that's still different from God, because I mean, obviously God knows. Me, I'm still, there might be, it's a 50-50 chance my son might go for the broccoli, but I don't know. I guess I'm just trying to give an example or something that we can kind of like reflect on today as an idea of what this could be like. Again, like I said, I mean, if I'm presenting the two options, good and evil, broccoli or lollipop, you still have the choice between the two, regardless of if I know or not what you're going to choose. And that's just me talking about my son. But I mean, if you guys can, take that and think about it as God presenting us with, yes, good and evil. And I guess I'm careful to say this because it's like not presenting as if temptation, you know what I mean, or whatever, or not tempting us with the good and evil. It's because the whole knowledge of good and evil was what Adam and Eve went for. So therefore now we know and have knowledge of good and evil. Therefore now we have the choice between good and evil, not that God is presenting us with good and evil. So my apologies for saying that, because I didn't mean it in that way. I'm just saying, at the end of the day, I think all things boil down to good and evil. That's what I mean. It's not that God is saying, hey, choose between the two. He's saying choose me. You know what I mean? In this situation where you can choose good or evil, he told us clearly to choose good. To choose life and all those things. Whatever scenario you can put it in. But hey, don't take my word for it. Let's get some more Bible. So let me see. First Timothy 2:3-6. It says, "For this is good and acceptable in the sight of God, our Savior, who will have all men saved, and to come unto the knowledge of the truth. For there is one God and one mediator between God and men, the man Christ Jesus, who gave himself a ransom for all, to be testified in due time." So it's saying here, this is what's good and acceptable. to God, right? That all men come unto the knowledge of the truth. All men are saved. Um, this is his wishes, at the end of the day. I guess this is why we have so much grace and mercy. This is why 2 Peter 3:9. Let me go ahead and share this with you. The Lord is not slow to fulfill his promise, as some count slowness, but is patient toward you, not wishing that any should perish, but that all should reach repentance. So there you go. I mean, I believe that these both are clear indications of God's intentions of what he desires and everything like that. But does that change our free will, y'all? He's giving us still the free will. Like, okay, here's the thing. Like when we think about this whole idea of free will, and I think we all like that, right? We like that we're able to make our own decisions and everything like that. I mean, I would say most of us probably do. And so, but at the same time, it's like we want God to step in and make the decision for us and do things for us or whatever the case is. Because that's why, for example, when I shared with you guys the other day about the guy or whoever that was on Instagram that wanted to go back and forth about the 500 miles and all that stuff. And then the quote unquote argument that he continued to make was, well, why don't people do this? And why don't God do this? And why don't you pray for God to do this if all things are possible, right? And it's like, hey, okay, do you want to be controlled robots? Do you want to be controlled, or do you want the freedom to make the choice? Now, at the end of the day, God gave us the freedom to make the choice. Now, sometimes, hey, I would wonder too, Lord, it seems like a lot of us is using this freedom to make all the wrong choices. So, Lord, I don't know why you gave us the freedom to make the choice, right? And that's just me as a human just rationalizing to my own ability. Like, I know what the word says we should do in regards to not leaning to our own understanding and things like that. But like I said, this is just me making an observation. I'd be like, Lord, hey, based on what we do as humans, like, honestly, you probably could have just, not given us a choice. But at the same time, I played the Sims game back in the day. And, I could control my little sim and make the person, do whatever I wanted them to do and all this. Now, every now and then, I would let them, they would do the little talking thing and they would do their own little thing every now and then. But for the most part, I would tell it to go over here, go over there, da da da. Like I said, robots or, I mean, that's all I can equate it to right now, right? It just was like you telling it what to do and everything like that. And so, is that love? To control someone's every thought, every aspect, everything? Or is it love for that person to make the choice to love you? I mean, obviously, again, we can go deeper about this. I mean, there's so many verses in the Go Deeper section today. But the interesting thing is, as I was getting ready to wrap up, I ended up reading the entire 2 Timothy in 2. 2 Timothy 2. However, one verse stood out to me, and it was 19. Well, there was a few that stood out, so I hope that you guys read the whole thing too. However, verse 19 stood out to me, and it says, nevertheless, the foundation of God standeth sure, having this seal. The Lord knoweth them that are his, and let everyone that name the name of Christ depart from iniquity. So yes, God knows, according to the Bible here, right? And probably there's probably other confirmations as well. However, just in this verse right here, it does say that God knows. He knows who is his. And I mean, again, it could be a heavy concept to think about when you think about, man, okay, there are people that are, they're just not on the side of good. Like there are some people that are, representations of their father. And it's not God. um so but does that change that every human has the choice? Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think that it changes. I mean, I think even those that are representing their father, they still have the choice. Um, in my humble opinion, I would think so. Because at the end of the day, we can choose to do or not to do whatever it is, especially when you come to the knowledge of the truth, right? If you've been presented with the gospel in any way, if you read the Bible in any way, or any of those things have been presented to you, or whatever the case is, and then you continue to choose the opposite, even to the point where you're either leading others astray or you're just fully operating in evil, um, that is a decision. That is a choice. And y'all can let that marinate on today. The Bible verse of today is Psalm 59:16. It says, "But I will sing of thy power, yea, I will sing aloud of thy mercy in the morning, for thou hast been my defense and refuge in the day of my trouble." Friends, I hope you all enjoyed this juice this morning. Thank you so much for listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration, the juice. I pray you guys can go forth and have a wonderful day, and I look forward to talking to you all tomorrow, if the Lord's will. Bye-bye. Well, Facebook and YouTube, I hope that you all enjoyed the juice this morning. Thank you so much for tuning in. Yeah, it's a lot to think about this morning. Yeah. However, again, I hope that it encourages you and inspires you to hear these things. And I hope that you guys take a look at this stuff on your own. Take a look at the Go Deeper section, all those verses that, I came across in there. Again, reading the entire, I believe it was Second Timothy and 2. I feel like that would also help us on today. Yeah, shout out to my sister. I meant to shout her out the other day because she shouted me out the other day. She said that she's been having a great experience thus far with the juice. She finally started her journey. So yeah, man, shout out to my sis, man. I thank you for the ongoing support and everything like that. Yeah, I just wanted to shout her out and let her know. Well, let y'all know because I already communicated with her or whatever. But I just was letting you all know that, hey, I guess the juice is encouraging and inspiring people out here. You know what I mean? Yeah, she said she's really been blessed by taking part of the challenge. And so, at the end of the day, I hope that you, whoever gets it, that you all continue your journey beyond the 30 days. It's a 30-day challenge, but I hope you continue with beyond the 30 days, and that you guys can, I hesitate to say be like me because it's not like I'm special, and you know what I mean? I don't know. Like I feel like everybody should do this. Everybody should read the Bible for themselves. Um, Now this is on, I guess, another level because it's like actual taking time to study and whatnot. But and not just kind of reading it or just whatever the case is. But yeah. All right, y'all. Well, I'm gonna ramble if I stay on here. So I'm gonna let you guys go. But I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for tuning in. Shout out to you. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your comments and things like that. Um, Yep, I appreciate you all. I appreciate you all. Thanks for listening to little old me. All right, have a wonderful day. Bye.